and it will then be translated in English if the original text was not given in English. The reason is the BAT model that we're using understands English, so that is the reason it needs to be translated into English if the original input was not in English. Then the BAT classifier here, which is the core of the classification algorithm, will do the classification, and the ISIC code predicted will be given here as the output. The confidence scoring will also be given. The one with the highest accuracy is always, in most cases, the accurate one. Then the predicted ISIC code will be passed into the rack. The most relevant chunk from the rack, which contains information about this predicted code here, will be retrieved, and then it will be passed to the large language model, the llama, for what? For explanations. So it will give a human language, a text that can basically an explanation. So then we will have the visualization in the form of graphs, and alternatives for the prediction will also be shown. And finally, you can export the results. And remember that you just pass the descriptions, and the exported results will contain the predicted code. And in a nutshell, the system workflow is like this. You give the business description in any language. We're using the Google Translator to translate it back into English, as the BAT itself, the model that we're using, understands English. So the BAT will now do the prediction. And remember that BAT will do the prediction so quickly. Confident ISIC code prediction with confidence scoring will also be shown, and it will be passed to the rack with the large language model. The rack itself now will retrieve from the manual section and then give and generates a textual explanation as to why a specific code was predicted. The output includes the predicted ISIC codes. The confidence scores will also be given, and reference-based explanation will also be shown and given for complete transparency and justification. Why a specific code is predicted will be given. So the system has multilingual capabilities, so it can be used by different countries who speaks different languages. So it processes the business descriptions in English, French, Spanish, or Wolof, and any other languages. It supports about 50 different languages. So the language will be automatically detected. So there's seamless translation. Auto translates input into English for classification while maintaining the original context and meaning. The text is given in the language of your choice, but the meaning will be maintained. So therefore, the predictions will also be given accurately as though it was written in English. So consistent results delivers uniform classification accuracy regardless of input language or regional variation. So the language that you use for imputation doesn't matter. The accuracy is going to be the same. So now one may rationally ask, since the model itself is trained, that is using the revision version 4 from the UNSD, so what will happen if there is a newer version? Do we have to retrain the model? Yes, we can retrain the model, but it may not be done immediately. So what we can do is, depending on what the update is, if the codes are updated based on a particular activity, easily we can do some indexing. For example, if an activity from the current version, let's say the version 4, is given as 3100. That is from the revision version 4 manual training data. If there's an update, maybe to revision version 5 probably, which may give a prediction, which may give a code of 3110 from the same activity, we can just do some re-indexing and then re-update the manual. So therefore, when a description is given, which was previously 3110, the system will give a natural language explanation that previously in revision version 4, it was 3100, but now it's 3110. So we may not directly or immediately retrain, but we will do some form of re-indexing. That is what we meant by the RAG adaptation. So BAT retains predictive power without retraining the model immediately. So that is RAG plus the LLM handles version updates dynamically. So what are the benefits of the system? Fast, accurate classifications, handling large volumes of business descriptions efficiently. You can just upload thousands of descriptions of business activities, and the codes will be predicted within short duration. And imagine if that would have been done manually, it would have definitely taken a long time and is prone to errors. So the system helps in making this process so quick and so accurate. And it's definitely transparent, as the reason for a specific code is predicted will be explained. So explainable predictions with manual reference, and the explanation will be backed by the manual that is fed into the systems, and confidence scores will also be shown for auditability. And the final thing is, if there's any updates that we can immediately, the system can be aware of that, we can just fed or update the manual. So therefore, the version aware system adapts to manual updates without the need of immediate retraining. So addressing common concerns. Retraining requirements, as I mentioned, but retraining can be done, but it may not be immediately, as the RAG itself will be able to help in managing the updates if that happens. But one may say, why don't we just use RAG alone? So RAG alone is insufficient for fast, large-scale classification, but provides the speed and accuracy. Then the RAG with the LLM will be able to give the explanation. Since we want to get the best of both worlds, we want speed and we want explanations, so that is the reason we combine both the BAT with the RAG. So implementation complexity, combined solutions plans is complexity with functionality, delivering the best of both approaches. So we consider this as feature of classification because of its accuracy, it's explainable, and is feature-proof in the case of any updates. So it's definitely about 3 times faster when doing it manually, and the accuracy level is very high, about 95% accurate. The results that are given are consistent, it's reliable for ISIC code prediction, and is 100% transparent, as explanations will be given for each of the predicted code. So this is the core idea. It helps in transforming the way that ISIC code classifications is being done in statistical offices. So in conclusion, I will just quickly show you the overview of the interface for both the batch and the single mode. Great. So these are the two modes. We have the batch processing mode, and we have a single description here. So the business activity can be given in any language, and it will be detected or given. Then the BAT will do the prediction. The confidence score will be given here. As you can see, this specific activity, 98.5%. Then the RAC itself will be queried, and it will give a natural language explanation as to why that specific code was predicted. And we have the alternatives. And here we have the technical details, that how many chunks were retrieved, and the rack itself is active. And for the batch processing, you can just upload this CSV, which contains thousands of descriptions of the activities. It will be shown to you here, the format in which you sent it, and on a description, the code will be shown to you here with the confidence and the information also retrieved from the manual. As you can see here, 44 were given, and about 9.54%, which is high accuracy. The distribution of classification confidence will be shown here. As you can see, this graph, the batch will be shown. And once you download this, and remember, you just uploaded the descriptions, and when you download this, you will have the description predicted side by side, and the confidence scores will be given. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Baba. Excellent presentation. Thank you so much. Baba, can I ask you before was this you were mentored for this, am I right? It was
Sorry?
part of the was this part of the accelerator program, this work?
Accelerator program itself, I started the idea with the idea started there, so I later worked on it and improved using the natural language, the LLM, and the other.
Thank you. Okay, well, listen, we have some questions in the chat, so I need to scroll all the way back up to the top. Are you ready for all of?
Check the chat.
Yeah, we'll scroll up.
Yeah, someone says we can get the translation to French.
I will sort that. Do that. But I will share that with everybody after. I think the first question. It's important for one to know the explanation classification. Each classification with many respondents.
It's going to be like in a survey or in a census that requires this. All that you need is just get all the activities and it will quickly do the classification for you side by side. Yes.
Question. A few more for things along the way here in the chat, which I this is web
yeah, but since the model is already available, if you can use it offline. If you have maybe Flutter or maybe Java, if you want to put it in the tablets, you can just use the same model and then get it into your tablets. But the model itself, you just have to convert it into a version that will be compatible with tablets.
Lovely, thank you. If you there's a question from Luigi. Hello, Luigi. If I understand correctly, the RAG stage is only providing an explanation, but it cannot correct or update the code that was predicted by BERT. Is that right?
Yes. The RAG itself combined with the large language model will basically give a natural language explanation as to why BART does the prediction. But BART itself is the core classifier. Is the which one does the prediction? Yeah.
Thank you. Hopefully that's answered your question, Luigi. Great, thank you. What percentage would be considered low accuracy? Great question.
The accuracy is about 50% or less in the case as low accuracy.
And was the evaluated using the metrics F1, accuracy, precision, and recall, and what was its performance in a large-scale survey?
Yeah, so for us specifically in GBoS, the BS survey, which is a big one, we're using the system itself to help with the prediction, and definitely is doing well with high level of accuracy.
Thank you. How can one start using it? What does one need to do?
Yes, so the source code is in GitHub. The link will be shared. You can just get it, then retrain it at your. Then you can immediately start using it.
That link, Baba, and I will make sure I share that with all of the information that goes out after the webinar. What is the input data that is being classified?
As I mentioned, the activities, the business activities, the descriptions will be given, and that's basically what will be classified. Just give the activity, and the system will give you the classification. So the business activities, basically.
And it's using the international standard classification framework?
That's right.
You have a link to that we can share with people as well, Baba?
Yes, I will share the link.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. I'm going to switch from the chat. I see someone's got their hand up. I just need to switch on their mic.
Somebody says which level of ISIC classification. Somebody says which level of ISIC classification does the system generate. So it's 4, but you can fine tune it to your needs if you want it in other levels. So great. I think somebody was saying, yeah, it looks like we have more questions in the chat.
We do. I'm just going to, but someone's had their hand up for a while, so I thought I would just go across.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay? Melas, you should be able to turn on your camera and your microphone if you'd like to ask your question.
My name is hello, everyone. The question that I have, I would like to know what kind of input data do you provide to the model for it to classify to detect ISIC sect?
Sorry, yes, it was echoing. Please, can you come again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you speak again, please? It was echoing.
Yeah, my question is about what type of input data do you provide to the model to detect ISIC sectors? The second question is I want to know whether, while having different item names of different goods, is it possible that this model can be used to detect the ISIC sector?
That was given to the system. I think that when I even responded to it, just the description of the business activities is what is given as the input to the system. So basically the input is the business descriptions. For us, we use the previous data sets that contain the ISIC codes, which were clean to train our model. But the second
question either. If you repeat the second question because you were in and out.
My second question is about knowing item names of different goods. Is it possible that we can use this model to
There's someone speaking behind you, Mela, says it's cutting you out. Mela, why don't that second question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Let's go back to the chat. Now I can see the hands up as well. We're going to just switch between. I'll just come back and forth. What another done Lamek from Malawi. How can one start using it? We've done that. Patrick. Oh, sorry. The Alamus. Questions for you, Baba, in the chat. Question 1, the process of training data and performance of the model. Good. Model performance. Data.
Yes, the data that is used to fine-tune the bad model, as I answered earlier, is our previous descriptions of from the previous data set, from the previous OS, those I was like, then what we used to train and fine-tune the bad model.
Thank you. And the second question is about what about your local classification code activities using statistics production? Did you have a similar model for this classification?
Yes, so the way the model is, even our local like businesses, it will basically classify it accurately like that. For example, if I give the system NOPAL, the system will be automatically be able to know and give us the right classification for that. NOPAL itself is a local industry. So the same system will be used for both of those ones, not necessarily only the, it's going to be for both.
Yeah. Level 4, and where can we get it? We're going to share the link to the GitHub afterwards. What do we use for predicting the ISIC code? As in what is the input data required? And be able to classify an activity that is written as exactly it is in the ISIC manual.
Yeah, so the good part is you do not need to write the descriptions exactly it is in the manual. You can give your own write-ups in your own understanding, then the classification will be given. Maybe you just go to a particular industry, you ask them what exactly they do. So in your own wordings, you can write it, then the classification will be given to you. So not necessarily exactly the way it's in the ISIC manual. So the ISIC manual is just given as a reference.
Yeah, thank you. What raw data did you feed your RAG? How do you deal with misclassifications if you wait at a lower 5 or 4 digit?
Yes, so as I mentioned here, the system itself, we fed it the ISIC manual as per our industries in accordance with the UNSD current standard. So that's what we fed into the system, because we see that it will not be necessary to give it industries that are not even within our context. So that's the reason we do it like that. So, and as I mentioned, this is giving the prediction for level. So, but if you want other levels, you can also just fine tune it exactly as that.
Yeah. Can you produce a price index?
In what context? The producer price index, I want to know in, yeah. I want to know, like, using it in the producer price index in maybe in what context, please?
Yeah, it would be a different application completely, I think.
Yeah.
We're not sure. This is for classification of this.
Exactly so.
Yeah. Moses, we have a large volume of old data classified under ISIC. Can your machine learning system not only classify new business descriptions into all codes, so automatically map and correct old Rev 2 codes into their corresponding Rev 4 equivalents? I'll pause there. Is that possible?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. This from who? Okay, Sian.
It's from Moses.
He said we have a large volume.
It would have to be reprogrammed, wouldn't it? So you've got your old Rev 2 classification framework, and you've got a new Rev 4 classification framework, and your model applies to the new Rev 4 codes. Is that right?
So the model handles cases where a single average and total is present. Yeah, if I understand, then when we just have to, yeah, it could be programmed. Yeah.
Melas, can one use it to detect ISIC sector by providing it with different item names of different goods?
What does it mean by the item sector here? This is basically classification of industries. So I'm not sure what is he trying to say here. Like ISIC sector by providing it with different item names. Yeah. So basically, is this what the system is doing is just predicting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the next question.
Yeah, Melas, you'll have to come back to us if we haven't answered. Share some examples of explanations provided in case of correction versus incorrect classification.
Yes. So we adopted is the accuracy that is maybe about 50% or higher is in most cases always accurate. So if it is less than that one, then reconfirmation might be needed.
Does that work for you, Chris? Come back through in the chat for us. And on Ishan, if you use the ISIC classification for training, that should be less training data. Did you use some sort of data augmentation?
Training, So that's what you use. That is the ISIC manual which is given. So that's the augmented part of the system.
Thank you. Abraham, if I am to fine-tune the model to adapt to the relevant level of ISIC we use, what would the best way to deal with overfitting and underfitting?
Okay, just to complete the answer for Ramjon, like the cleaner the data and the more the training data set, the better. Please. Okay, for Abraham, saying like, if I'm to fine tune what the model. Yes, okay. So to avoid the overfitting and underfitting, make sure that when you are training, at least the standard use about 80% of the training data set, about 20% for the testing data set, and make sure that the data that you are giving is as clean as possible. And the more the data, the better, to avoid some overfitting. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Christoph came back with another question. Could the explanations of correction versus incorrect classification provide a hint on whether the classification was correct?
That's definitely accurate. So the explanation, remember that the explanation that the large language model is given using the RAG, it can be used to confirm whether the classification is accurate in combination with the percentage accuracy given. So you can easily use the explanations to confirm that, yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I've just lost all of my chat. Can you see the questions there, Baba? I left the screen for a moment, came back, and I've lost my chat.
Yeah, I can see someone is saying, the next one I think is saying, can we have the GitHub link? Yes, yeah. The GitHub link will be provided. So, hi, Seri. This is Gian from the Central Bank of Rwanda. Also consider me when sharing automating CPI recordings. I think that's for you.
No problem. Yep, no problem. Okay, I have my chat back.
Saying, okay.
I have my chat. Is it support? Does it support Excel file with more variables?
Sorry. Okay. Giving descriptions in batch, you just upload the CSV, which just contains the description. So CSV, please.
Okay. I don't know. Is added. Hang on. Egypt. Men are from Egypt. What should be done in the case the description of the economic activity is different from the products listed in the production table in the questionnaire? For example, the description of the activity is waste recycling, but when we reviewed the form in detail, we found the company is actually engaged in waste collection.
So if I understand, means like a specific description is given, but you want to update it. Yeah, so basically, as I mentioned, the BAD itself, it understands language, it understands context. So you need not to give it exactly the way it is in the manual. Based on your own wording, so the prediction is like will be given accordingly like that. So since, let's say, waste recycling and this waste are different ISIC codes, so it's then automatically able to know that, okay, the codes that will be assigned to each of them will be different, despite it could be closer.
Yeah, thank you. How can this be integrated with the applications we use for data collection? That's a great question.
Yes, so it is a standalone application that we deploy in our server. Giving us the URL is available. So for the field workers in their tablets, we just have to access in their browser, type the URL, then the system will be shown to them. They can pass the description, because mostly the field workers probably will use the single descriptions. They'll just have to give a description, then the code will be given to them side by side. Yeah, so the application that you're using, but instead it will be a standalone application that can be accessed.
Yeah. Thank you. And what is the size of your system?
The server, like the
How many codes? How many items are being coded?
yeah. So what I because I was thinking, the question was referring to maybe completion or system, the science in the sense, it doesn't mean like the observation, like the model I mentioned, they use about 100,000 for the training, 100,000 observations around that.
Okay, thank you. In the case of wrong spelling, can the system be able to interpret what the activity is and give a correct code?
Most definitely. So the spellings, just make sure that it's closer to the actual meaning, but you don't have to accurately or rightly spell things like the way they are. Yeah. So even with wrong spellings, the system will be able to give the accurate predictions for those ones. Yeah,
thank you. Does the system that upgrades ISIC from Rev 4 to Rev 5 using RAG work with the batch method?
For the batch one, yeah, not for now.
No. Okay. We're going to take Ishan's question or Ramjan's question, and then there are still some people with their hands up, and I'm conscious of the time. Ramjan says, did hyperparameter tuning improve performance significantly, or the result was satisfactory with the default settings of the algorithm?
Yeah, most definitely, the hyperparameter tuning definitely helped in the performance, because the model itself was trained, and the best model was the one given. About 30 different models were produced, and because of the help of the hyperparameter tuning, the one
Thank you. I'm now going over to people who've got their hands up and who've been waiting very patiently. Robert, enabled your microphone and your camera. Would you like to ask your question?
Yes. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Baba, for the presentation. So the question is, I see you did a level 4 classification for ISIC. I'm inquiring whether this can also work for ISCO. ISCO is for the occupations, because we're attempting something here. We use, instead of the BAT model, we use the distill BAT, which is a smaller model. The BAT, which is about 75 to 80%. So does that mean the BAT gives will give a better accuracy? Because what we did, we localized ISIC from a survey. No, ISIC.
Okay, the ISIC. Okay.
Yeah, we have a survey called the National Household Survey, with these industry descriptions, and we localized it and trained it. We fine-tuned this model, the distill BAT. So I'm just asking whether the BAT would do a better performance.
Yeah, not
and
the
also,
distill. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And also, what is the processing time for this when you're classifying the industry? How long does it take using this BAT?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, the BAT model itself has different flavors. So distilled BAT is amongst the flavors of BAT, but the one that we're using, the flavor that we're using is at a higher level. So the one that we're using has about 110 million parameters. So distilled BAT has lower. So maybe what I will advise is just try to use a higher for training, and 70% definitely is low. In that case, try to make sure that you use more observations, because the more observation for each descriptions, the better. And the data should be as clean as possible. Yeah, there should be no discrepancies in the data. And your last portion is about time. Yeah, for this one, you can do records within seconds. But if it is the batch mode, depending on the volume that you're passing, if you have about maybe thousands of descriptions together at once, yeah, it may take a bit longer.
What kind of processing power unit were you talking about?
You have to use the GPUs that you're using also counts. I'm not sure which machines or which servers are you using for the training for that. So that also matters. Make sure that you're using a server that has that's a high end for the training, and high GPU also should be available. Then you can migrate to a higher flavor. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think we shall, when you share the GitHub, we shall go through and see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Our next question with a hand up is Emmanuel Deborah. I have enabled your microphone. Please ask your question. We are only 3 minutes left, so if we can keep these questions as quick as possible, please.
And we have
All
some
right,
in the.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And Baba, thank you for that insightful presentation. And I mean, transition as data collection is concerned. I'm glad that somebody asked a question about spelling mistakes. Where would the application be able to recognize or accept some spelling level of spelling mistakes? I will ask if it's possible, or is this system affect or has voice recognition feature where yes, the person can pronounce the item or the description for it to be able to recognize the voice and convert it into text to avoid these spelling mistakes. And then another question is, especially in Ghana here or most of the African countries where network connectivity is a challenge in some parts of the country, is it still possible to be able to have this offline, where in remote areas, rural areas, that there are no internet connectivity to be able to access this application online, be able to install it offline so that they can be able to use? And my final question, has this application been tested? Or that they're looking at?
Yeah.
Yes, so the first one, you talk about the spelling mistakes, we address that. So it doesn't matter. Just make sure that the ID is written in voice, because it has the voice recognition. You can speak in any language, so it will be captured, and the predictions can be given accordingly like that. And the other thing is, as I mentioned, the model itself, you can therefore deploy it in your integrated. I know specifically for this model TF, you can just like a mobile application, which you can definitely use offline. But in terms of accuracy, I'm definitely sure this original the accuracy will be higher than when you convert it back to the TF Lite, which Flutter itself accepts. Yeah. I know it's a challenge, especially in some areas. Some use. Yeah. So once you get your model, you can just change it to TF Lite if you want to go from maybe Java or Kotlin to get it into your basic idea. And I think you talked about the final one, which is confirmation of right.
No, so the downside of the app is any, as you've been using, is it?
Yes. So as I mentioned, like when you have an accuracy which is very low, in that case, at least you and confirm before taking to be 100% accurate. But for those with higher accuracies, we are definitely sure, and in most cases, the accuracies are definitely very, very high. Yeah. So for those with low accuracies, you can also retrain the model later. So if in GPT or any model, you see that they retrain the models at a time just to have a new version like that. Older version, that's how these models basically work. And I think we have two final questions in the slide. 2 minutes, yeah. It's 2:11.
Yeah. Did you tackle this issue? Christoph, my understanding is ISIC classes may be imbalanced also in the training data set. Did you tackle this issue?
Yes.
I wonder if these might be questions we can answer after the webinar, Baba, and I will put these your answers to these questions out with the email that follows.
Great. I think that will help.
Because the time is ticking here.
That's right.
If that works for you, I will go back to you, Baba, with these questions, and we will answer them in the email that I put out.
That will work, please.
If that's okay for everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Baba. You have done so well with all of these questions. And apologies to those who still have hands up and have questions in the chat. If there are any other questions you'd like answered, please email me and I will put them to Baba and we will get the answers out. This application using BERT, using machine learning, really good results. Baba, thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you.
Would you please share your presentation with me afterwards and the links to GitHub, and I will make sure it all goes out to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you.